We get to talk to another author today. This time it's an author with a pretty crazy childhood. Lisa Kohn says her dad was an addict. Her mom was part of a religious group many consider a cult. So how did she survive all of that? Well, it's all in her new book, To the Moon and Back, A Childhood Under the Influence, and Lisa Kohn joins us now. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
A lot of people don't have normal, typical childhoods. What made you think to yourself, mine is so crazy, I've got to write a book about it?
Because every time I would tell people stories of my childhood, they say, you gotta write a book. So I sat down and I wrote a book, because the stories are weird. They're not worse, they're just weird.
All right, so what's the weirdest story about your childhood that you want to share with us?
The weirdest story about my childhood that I want, okay, so when my dad, he used to bartend down Soho, and he was in a bar fight, and he got his tooth knocked out, and he had it made into an earring, and then he shaved his head, and he showed up at my 5th grade school play with a shaved head, a top hat, and a tooth hanging from his ear.
So did my dad.
There you go. There you go. See?
I'm just kidding. And your mom, what was her connection to the Moonies? What was going on there?
So when I was 10 years old, my mom went to hear Reverend Moon speak, Reverend Samya Moon, and within a couple months went up to hear more teachings and more teachings and more teachings and brought us up, and we were in it. She was a member of the Unification Church. I was a member of the Unification Church. I was best friends with his kids. It was my life.
Do you consider it a cult?
I do consider it a cult. Cult's a harsh word, but I do.
Because they don't consider it.
They don't. When you're in a cult, you don't consider it a cult.
So what was cult-like about it?
So in my belief, an extremist situation, like a cult, is one that gives you absolute certainty. It tells you this is the truth and everything else is wrong and this is the only way. And then they can say this is the only way the next day and you go, okay, over there. It doesn't let you question. We were taught if we ever questioned, it was Satan coming to grab us away. So you learn to never question, never doubt, never trust yourself. That's very involving and cult-like to me.
Looking back at your childhood, what about it was there something traumatic to you? Was it a learning experience? I mean, what came out of all of it?
Yes. So I would say yes, right? Yes. So yeah, my childhood is complex trauma. I mean, there was a lot of crazy things that happened, and growing up in an extremist situation really carves your brain in very specific, tough ways. But it's also a huge learning experience. It made me who I am. It made me what I had to do. Who am I? I'm Lisa Kohn. I'm a leadership consultant and executive coach, and I spent a lot of years trying to heal from the stuff that happened to and around me. And so now I'm a happy person in a happy, healthy marriage with 2 great kids and have a great life and spend my life trying to teach other people to find joy and happiness. So
that's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
What's your relationship with your parents like today?
My mom is my biggest fan of the book, and she's also really nervous.
Is she still in part of the Moonies?
She's not. She left in 1996.
What happened there?
I had my first kid, and my mom was working a job and said she was going to come up and help me, and she came up and helped me, and she got fired. And she was in D.C., and so then she moved up to New York City, up to NYU, and went and got her master's in early childhood special ed, and just kind of drifted away from the church.
And what about your dad?
My dad, unfortunately, he's a hippie from the Lower East Side, as you know, and he had a stroke 11 years ago. He's heavily disabled in a nursing home outside of Princeton, New Jersey. I'm his primary caregiver. So yeah, I have guarded, loving relationships with both my parents.
And do you know if he's read the...
He has not. He forgets that I've written it. When he remembers, last time he said he wanted to read it, but I don't actually want him to read it because I don't think he'll feel good about what it says.
Fair enough. Listen,
fair enough.
The rest of us can. To the Moon and Back. That's the book. Thank you so much for talking about it with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
We appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.